Our next candidate is John Williams. John has been coming to Mesquite for 20 years and bought a home here in 2010. His background is in business and most recently as the CEO of a mortgage banking company from 2000 to 2007, doing $100 million a month in mortgage loans. He now does private mortgage loans. Prior to that, he was the chief executive for different industries, from medical device development to air ambulance manufacturing company, and in the financial and mortgage industry. John says that management is my deal. 5 minutes, John.
Well, thank you all for paying attention to our elections. We really need to pay attention to all the elections that go on around here, because if we don't, we end up with things not being managed very well. Management is my deal. She said, I've been my college degree is in accounting. So I kind of know the numbers, and a minor in business management, but not long after starting to practice accounting, I ended up moving into the management ranks. I've been the CEO of 12 different companies for 35 years in 7 different industries. Now, somebody last week, or the week before, at one of the utility board meetings said, us folks in the audience shouldn't really question what the boards do because we just don't know what they go through. I've spent more hours on boards of directors of big companies and small companies than I would venture to say anybody on any of those utility boards. I know what a board is supposed to do, and I know when they're doing their job, and I know when they're not. And I, as a citizen, have a right to make a comment about what I think they're doing. 3 of the companies that I managed, was the CEO of, were publicly traded companies. You're going to hear from me a little bit about accountability. I know about accountability. You think it's difficult being accountable to your employees in your community. When you're a public company, you've also got thousands or tens of thousands of shareholders and Wall Street brokers and all kinds of people looking at everything you do and holding you accountable for everything you do well, and certainly for any time you screw up. So I know about being accountable. We have to be accountable. The city leaders have to be accountable. We're spending your money. Every dollar has to be spent to get the best possible value for you, for the citizens of Mesquite. When I talk about the citizens of Mesquite, I mean all of the citizens of Mesquite. Not a special interest group here, not a special interest group there, not a group of friends here or a group of members of an association over here. Everybody. When you sit as a leader in a city council seat, you have to represent every single person. And there's a lot of diverse interests. Certainly we have seniors. Seniors are an enormous part of this economy, really are a huge reason this city grew so fast. We have to make sure they get the services they need and they're well taken care of. So there's a lot of interest groups. You have to represent all of them, not any special one. When you're elected to office, you have to put aside your friends, your family, your personal businesses, your personal acquaintances. And when you make a decision, and I will make decisions based on my research and my best judgment as to what is best for all the citizens of Mesquite, not any special group. Independence, I'm an independent guy. I believe that I need to remain free of any special interest or any personal agendas, because I'm representing a whole bunch of people I don't know. So I will do that. Integrity, I get concerned sometimes when people and organizations and groups that the city pays money to don't do what they say they're going to do. One of my mottos is, it's one we all know, I think, say what you'll do, and then do what you'll say. If we're paying for a service from MRBI, from any contractor, from any group, from any utility, we should expect, and we have to expect them to do what they say and treat our citizens fairly. We have an issue with our 2 utility providers. We need to make sure the citizens of Mesquite the majority of the customers of both those utilities get adequately represented and treated fair by our utilities. I promise I'll keep your best interests at heart, and I look forward to serving. Ask yourself, who's the guy with the real business experience?
Our next candidate is Bunny Wiseman. For 18 years, she was the finance manager for a car dealership in Salt Lake City. She served on the Board of Adjustments for Riverton, Utah, a city of 40,000 residents, for 8 years. Wiseman is extremely involved in the Mesquite arts community. That is one of the reasons she moved here, besides golf. She has been the president of the Virgin Valley Artists Association, treasurer of the Virgin Valley Artists Association, vice president of the theater group, has directed and played in several community theater productions, is co-chairman of the Mesquite Community Theater, and teaches art classes.
Thank you. I am Bunny Wiseman, and I believe that I'm qualified for this job for a lot of the reasons that were just stated. I do have some financial background, having been in the car business for 18 years. And I also served on the Board of Adjustments for Riverton City for 8 years. During that 8 years, the Board of Adjustments there does a lot of the same things that our City Council here in Mesquite does. With the exception of the fact that we did have to do all of our own research. We had to do the due diligence on the items that were put before us, and we had to go out and look at the land and look at the lay of the land. And actually, that's what got me interested in doing some of the political things in Mesquite. Because of the time I spent on the Board of Adjustments, and Miranda, when she was over at the chamber, and I had a little chat about the sign ordinance. And I know that it would be extremely expensive for us to rewrite the whole sign ordinance, but I firmly believe that there are ways that we could maybe come up with a committee of citizens who could make exceptions, who could be authorized to make exceptions to some of the ordinances as they're written, so that we could move forward with improving the looks of our city. I just really think we have some serious problems with all the little signs that are going on. I know it's been set aside for the time being, the ordinance has, but it's time for us to get busy and clean up our town. Not huge items like buildings and parks and sidewalks. It's time for us to take one step at a time to clean up our town. And I believe that it can be done. I believe City Council needs to get a grip and do something about the looks of our town. I don't know all the laws involved because I haven't researched what we can do to improve the looks of downtown, but I'm sure there are some things we could do. I think there are ways that we could reach out and discuss the issues with the blighted buildings. I do like the word blighted. It's a word that makes it look as bad as it looks. And I think that City Council could find out if there is any legal way that we can force the owners of those buildings to clean up their acts. I think if not, we should start fining them and fine them to the point where all of a sudden they don't own that land anymore. And then we have RDA funds that maybe we could knock down those buildings, put the land at a decent price, and maybe those areas would sell. I don't think that there's a reason why we should look the way that we look. There just has to be an answer to these things. I do think that that if we get together and work together, I'm a team player. I think City Council should come together and be a team and work together to solve some of those kinds of problems. I'm a firm believer in looking at both sides of an issue before you make a decision. I believe in fairness and like I said, teamwork. I'm a firm believer in doing the research. I believe that I have the time to put into researching. I'm also on the master plan committee for the city, and those are the kind of things where we look at the city and what it looks like to people who are considering moving here or bringing a business here. Thank you.
last candidate to speak tonight on the first half of the program is Gino Withelder. Gino is an incumbent city councilman running for re-election. He's lived in Mesquite for over 10 years and has been on the city council for 4 years. He is the corporate broker owner record for Premier Properties, a real estate company in Mesquite. Withelder has been the past president of the Calais Homeowners Association, the past president of Falcon Ridge Business Association, has been on the board of directors for the Virgin Valley Artists Association and the Salvation Army. He is the president of the Falcon Ridge Golf Club and the executive vice president of the Southern Nevada Golf Association. He is very active in the community. Thank you, Gino.
Well, thank you, and I think I just got engaged to this guy over here. We've been pretty intimate for the last 30 minutes. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to see everybody, and great turnout. As you know, I am an incumbent. I am running for my second term. A couple of years ago, when Mayor Weir got elected, he asked me to serve as his Premier Pro Tem, and I graciously accepted that. Sit on several boards for the city, and as you just heard, I am active with a lot of other associations. I sit on 5 or 6 boards and nonprofit boards, and my wife and I, when we moved here almost 12 years ago now, we decided that we would get back into the community and give something back, because at that point we consider ourselves two of the luckiest people on the face of the planet. We found home. We get out of California, it was like getting out of jail. We decided to give something back, and we haven't stopped, and we will continue to do that. As far as the city goes, I think the current council is as good as we've had in the past 10 or 12 years. We're very cohesive, we're very analytical, we discuss things at depth and at length, and we generally come up with some pretty good solutions. And as was mentioned, I am the broker of record of Premier Properties, and just to throw a crazy number at you, I employ over 40 people, which seems like a pretty large number in this day and age, and last year I signed checks for commissions and salaries for over $2 million for the city. So that's kind of a substantial number in this day and age and in this economy. It's been the old adage that golf and gaming strive Mesquite. Well, I have another additive. If it's not for the real estate industry, golf and gaming are kind of backdoor, I think. So I am a proponent of the real estate business. As far as the business community goes, we all talked about MRBI. I think it's a viable solution. I sit and work actively with those folks. We had a couple of meetings last week with some people from out of town. We had a summit last week with some people from Carson City for the small business outfit, and we made some great strides with small business. I'm working with some of the people from Las Vegas, from SCORE. Does everybody know what SCORE is? The Senior Congress of Retired Executives. I think if we get SCORE involved in this town, we're going to make some headway, because we've got a lot of very, very smart, dedicated, retired people that have a lot to contribute to this community, that we could get them off their butts and from behind those gated communities and get involved in business. We can make some of these businesses turn around and work. I run 5 or 6 charity golf tournaments a year, and I'm sure most of you have played them at one time or another. I'm very active with the Golf for Kids. Other than that, everybody knows me. I guess I really don't have a whole lot to say other than vote for Gino. I'll be back. Thank you.
We're going to